So this series is called The Business of, and I just want to highlight and share things that I'm learning about different businesses in different sectors, in different industries. I wanted to do a series of videos just documenting the progression of the economy in Jamaica, in the Caribbean, across the world, just how businesses are affected, during this COVID period. So today's episode, we're going to talk about the business of cannabis. It's June 1st, 2020, and some of the COVID restrictions have been lifted in Jamaica, and the stay-at-home orders have been lifted except for people 65 years and older. So June 1st, and it's a Monday, I wanted to do a series of videos just documenting the progression of the economy in Jamaica, in the Caribbean, across the world, just how businesses are affected, during this COVID period. So this series is called The Business of, and I just want to highlight and share things that I'm learning about different businesses in different sectors, in different industries, how different industries are affected under these COVID restrictions. Are we really going to go back to normal? Like, what is normal now? I think what we were accustomed to doing, the things that we used to do, yeah, okay, we're opening up the economy, but slowly but surely, I don't think that it will be normal, based on what we are based on what our definition of normal is. I don't think that the world will ever get back to that place. I think there will always be some restrictions. There will be different rules and regulations instituted just to ensure social distancing and, different people affected in different ways during this period. And I wanted the business of to really highlight different sectors, in different businesses, entrepreneurs during this period. So today's episode, we're going to talk about the business of cannabis. I saw on the news last night that Canadian companies or different investors are withdrawing their investment from Jamaican companies and essentially from the Jamaican market, which I'm sure have negative effects on the economy. I wanted to highlight that Epicon, in a Gleaner article, May 29th, Canadian company, the Green Dutchman, announced this week that it sold all of its 49% stake in Epicon Medicinal Limited, which operates local cannabis herb houses and a farm in Jamaica. What were the reasons? The reasons were... As reasons for exiting the investment, the Canadian investor cited a history of operating losses, recent economic developments in Jamaica due to the pandemic, and TGOD's decision to no longer pursue opportunities to export cannabis from Jamaica. Epicon, which has been reported as being controlled by Carib and Dwayne McKenzie, has not... They haven't responded to requests to come in. No. Anybody who has any size business, if you're working with different people, if you have investors and those investors decide to pull out of the company or the arrangement that you have, or the business arrangement that you have, that could, definitely have adverse effects on your company. Epicon has 2 branches, one in Kingston and one in Marketplace and on Jimmy Cliff Boulevard in Montego Bay. There was a Forbes article dated May 30, I think that's Saturday. And the title was Afira, Aurora, and other big AG cannabis companies pull out of Jamaica. And it goes on to say Canadian licensed producers of cannabis are leaving Jamaica in droves due in part to stalled government decisions on export licenses. Now, the local body that controls that controls the licensing of cannabis is the Cannabis Licensing Authority. Afira is halting all further investments in Latin America and the Caribbean, said a former employee exclusively to Sarah Brittany Somerset for Forbes Online. Approximately 200 former Afira employees were laid off in an effort by the company to downsize and restructure. Now, all of these investment pulls or investment withdrawals are as a result of the restrictions around the coronavirus. It's obvious that everybody, from the big companies to the small businesses, to everyone is affected by the restrictions during the COVID-19. All economies are affected. Every single economy has been affected. And that's a Forbes article. The reasons for the pull in the Forbes article: frustration with the lack of action on the part of the Jamaican government and its regulatory arm, the Cannabis Licensing Authority, the CLA. It appears as if the Canadian cannabis companies are cutting their losses and heading home. Yeah. Let's see how this plays out. But, I think that Jamaica should be a huge player in the cannabis industry. Definitely, absolutely. I think Jamaica should be a larger player. Andre Houghton, opposition senator, has made recommendations for regional trade. Jamaica trading with other Caribbean islands. Let's also see how that plays out. I know everybody is affected by the COVID-19 restrictions, and I just feel like this show or this series is just to document the different businesses that I am interested in. I follow the cannabis industry, the tourism industry, entertainment. I work in entertainment. As a small business operator, I think observing how other companies handle the effects of the COVID-19, trying to revive their economies, changing up, adjusting their business plans. I think it's going to be an interesting rest of 2020 and onward. I think it's important to document the progression or the advances or just what's happening as we slowly open up the economy to and lift the COVID restrictions. The Forbes article also goes on to say that the reasons for withdrawal of the investment is due to additional unforeseen hardships, such as the stark implications of the novel coronavirus pandemic, which caused a sharp and rapid decline in tourism, left companies including Afira with a glut of rotting marijuana inventory intended for the rapidly diminished retail market. It's interesting to note as well that the producers, the license holders are saying that even if the Jamaican government were to expedite the issues of export licenses, that's through the Cannabis Licensing Authority, the global market is extremely limited. The slight amount of export, such as global cannabis to Canada, was only permitted for medical research and development. Those minuscule export amounts do not add up to any genuine marketable or profitable volume. The cannabis industry is one of those industries where there is tremendous room for growth in the cannabis industry. And I know that right now there are opportunities. Interesting to see who discovers their footing or finds their footing during this time. Adjusting to this new normal is going to cause all economies to contract, at least for a while. So what really got me was the frustrated with the lack of action on the part of the Jamaican government and its regulatory arm, the Cannabis Licensing Authority. It appears as if the Canadian cannabis companies are cutting their losses and heading home. Now, it would be very unfortunate to think that the local licensing body is what is responsible for, or is partly responsible for, the investment pullout of these companies. The small farmers and the small producers, those are the people that will be far more impacted than possibly these big companies, because the small farmers who need this income and depend heavily on this income, I'm gonna see if I can get some people on here and feature some the different players in the industry that we can really see and get a feel of what's happening locally and internationally. But I think that definitely cannabis is an industry that Jamaica absolutely can profit from. This is why the show exists, so we can document what's happening locally and internationally. Today, we're looking into the business of cannabis, so feel free to comment and let me know what are the possible directions that we could take with this, and please keep the comments positive, ask questions, let's talk about this. We'll be talking about different industries, different sectors, how the opening up of, or the gradual opening up of the economy will affect different industries. So just to recap today in the business of cannabis, we spoke about different investors, Canadian companies or different companies withdrawing their investment from the cannabis industry here in Jamaica. And they were citing reasons of the pace of the government in issuing licenses, and the fact that the quantity that they're allowed to take is not enough to really make a profit from, just for research. I'm Allison. Like, subscribe, share. Stay tuned for the next episode of The Business of.